and then a scream. Tui, somehow breaking free, shoved Tien off her. She bolted downstairs, her bare feet slapping against the tiles. When she saw her parents' lifeless bodies, she froze. "Mom, Dad, no!" She crumpled over them, sobbing, but it was no use. They were gone. The thugs caught up. Before they could reach her, she darted behind the counter and grabbed a switchblade. "Stay back or I swear I'll kill you." She held the blade out, her face twisted in rage. The gang hesitated. For a moment, no one moved. Then Tien came down, dragging Le by the hair. "Drop the knife. Obey me, and maybe I'll let you live." "You bastard! You killed our parents. I don't care if I die. I'm taking you with me." Tien smirked. Without a word, he pulled out a knife and stabbed Le. Blood sprayed over his arm. Le screamed, then went limp. He wasn't done. Again and again, he plunged the blade into her body, laughing like a madman. "This is your fault," he sneered. "You killed her, not me." "You monster! I'll kill you!" Tui screamed and charged, aiming the blade at his throat. But she never made it. One of the others swung a baton and cracked her skull. She dropped. They kept beating her until her head caved in, gray matter spilling out. Huang watched from a distance, horror gripping him. "What do we do with the bodies, boss?" one of them asked Tien. Lighting a cigar, Tien said casually, "Chop up the parents, scatter the parts. As for the girls, bring them upstairs." "But they're dead." "Did I ask for your opinion? Do it." The thug nodded and obeyed. Soon came the sound of butchery. Huang reeled. He stumbled back into his room, heart pounding. Tien wasn't human. He defiled even corpses. He had his way with the girls' bodies until he finally tired. Even his henchmen looked uneasy. He was worse than his father, the notorious mob boss, Mr. Can. Huang, mentally wrecked and physically drained, jumped again as he heard Tien call out, "Bring the bodies into the next room for me." To be continued. Chapter 8. The end. The moment those words hit Huang's ears, it was as if he'd fallen into a bottomless pit. He jolted upright like a spring, eyes darting around the room in search of a hiding place. In his heart, he prayed fervently that the room next door wasn't his, but the heavens were deaf to his pleas. Heavy footsteps thudded closer and closer. In a split second, Huang made his move. He crammed all his belongings into his backpack, then swiftly crawled under the bed and lay still, holding his breath. The sound of footsteps and a dragging noise, like something or someone being scraped across the floor, grew louder. When the front door creaked open, his heart nearly stopped. Clamping both hands over his mouth, Huang broke into a cold sweat. One tiny mistake now, and he might be wiped from existence. The first corpse was dragged into the bathroom by one of the thugs. Huang could tell from the body shape that it wasn't Tui. But then came the second body, and for some reason, they didn't bother moving it far. It was dumped right next to the bed, less than half a meter from Huang's hiding spot. He almost screamed. It was Tui. Her body was in an utterly ruined state. Her head was crushed and misshapen, but the eyes, those wide, bloodshot eyes, were still intact, staring straight at him. Huang tore his gaze away in a panic. He knew if he kept looking, he wouldn't be able to stop himself from screaming. Worse yet, the two men didn't leave the room. They sat down beside the corpse. Each took a bit of white powder, lit it up, and began inhaling. One of them squatted with his back facing Huang, butt nearly in his face. After a while, they both slumped to the floor, sprawled out beside the bed. "Damn. This stuff's way better than last time." "Yeah, definitely stronger. Pure stuff." If only we had this every day. Dream on. This is top-tier gear, costs way more. Boss Can only tosses us scraps once in a while. Their drugged-out chatter drifted into absurdity. Huang, though still tense, was oddly relieved. They were no longer a threat if they were this high. But luck wasn't on Huang's side. The two didn't leave. Instead, they passed out on the floor. Huang remained rigid under the bed, motionless for hours until exhaustion finally overtook him. He jolted awake, hitting his head on the bed frame. A loud siren blared outside, like an ambulance or a police vehicle. His memories rushed back. Heart pounding, Huang peered out from under the bed. No sign of the men, no sign of Tui's corpse. Nothing. Confused and unnerved, he cautiously crept out. Opening the front door, he saw flashing lights. Several police cars had surrounded the motel. Armed officers stood ready. A commanding voice boomed through a loudspeaker. "Everyone inside! This building is surrounded. Exit with your hands in the air, slowly." Huang obeyed. As soon as he stepped out, guns pointed at him. He froze. Once confirmed he wasn't a threat, an officer approached him. "Who are you? Why are you here?" "I'm Huang. I'm the one who called the police earlier." "It was you? Why didn't you answer our return call?" "I was afraid they'd hear. It wasn't safe to answer." "I see. Then tell us exactly what happened here, and where the others are." Huang recounted everything. Captain Bach's expression shifted from disbelief to pure astonishment. "What? You're telling me a massacre happened here last night?" "Yes, sir. I swear everything I said is true. If I'm lying, I'll accept full responsibility." Captain Bach gave him a strange look, not one of suspicion, but more like he was checking if Huang was mentally sound. "You do realize, the family that lived here died years ago. This place has been abandoned ever since." Huang's mouth dropped open. "That's impossible. I saw them, alive, just yesterday. The motel owner himself let me in. He had 2 daughters, Le and Tui. They were murdered. I saw it with my own eyes." Captain Bach went pale. Those names, Le and Tui, were accurate. "You're saying you saw them die? Are you certain?" "Yes. And I also saw the ringleader. His name is Thien. I think his father's name is Can. They were planning some kind of major deal, possibly trafficking something illegal." Captain Bach raised a hand. "That's enough for now. Come with me. I'd like to take your statement more thoroughly. This is a very serious matter." "Wait. Do you think I'm a suspect?" "No, not at all. But what you've described links closely to an unsolved major case from years ago. If you can help us, we might finally close it." I don't understand. Are you saying all this happened years ago? But I saw it all last night." "Exactly. That's why we need to talk further. You're not under suspicion. We just want answers." At the police station, Huang recounted every chilling detail. Captain Bach listened carefully, wiping sweat from his brow, even though the room was cool. Huang's account was so vivid, so coherent, that it was hard to dismiss. Captain Bach then showed him a stack of photos of suspects. When Huang reached the 8th or 9th photo, he froze. "That's him. That's Tien. The sickest bastard I've ever met." "You're sure? This is important." 100%. I'd know him even if he were ashes." "Very well. Leave us your contact info. We'll reach out if needed. You may go." Months later, Huang received a call from Captain Bach. "Mr. Huang, this is Captain Bach. I'm calling to thank you. Thanks to your testimony, we've solved the An Bin Motel case. You're being formally recognized." We'd like to deliver a certificate of commendation. We can send it or present it at a ceremony. Your choice. Huang responded modestly, "Sending it is fine. No need for public recognition. I didn't do anything heroic, just told the truth." Understood. If you'd like to read more, check today's front page article. The Anbin Motel Massacre and its terrifying secrets. Goodbye, Mr. Huang. Huang opened the news site. The headline stood out in bold. Comments flooded the page. Thien had been sentenced to death. But what shocked Huang most was this. After the crimes, Thien had apparently gone insane. Despite his father taking him to top hospitals, no one could explain his mental collapse. He locked himself in his room, laughing and muttering to himself. Then it got worse. He developed a bizarre obsession, drinking his own blood. One day, his father walked in and saw him slashing himself with a knife, licking his own blood off his hands. Terrified, the father chained Thien to a pillar, feeding him like an animal. Eventually, Thien was sentenced to death. His father, Chan, aka Chan the Tiger, a feared crime lord, received a life sentence. Now, in the quiet of his room, Huang's cigarette had burned to ash. His coffee was long cold. The clock neared midnight. Stretching, Huang headed to bed. That night, he dreamed of them again. Lei, Tui, and their family. But this time, they were smiling. They waved goodbye, hand in hand, and walked into a blinding white light. And just like that, they were gone. All that remained was a ghostly, abandoned motel under the moonlight. The end. Thank you for reading. See you in the next story.